Mellors and Wines Productions presents the Time-Travelling Sommelier Astronaut. Episode 2, Victorians and Bellendians. In the last episode, we heard how our hero Jan Schilling was blasted into space on an experimental rocket, only for the controversial hoop drive to malfunction, and thus opening a portal to the past. Now we rejoin him in that wood-panelled room. Chapter 1. My name is Schilling. Jan Schilling. Schilling is momentarily lost for words. Is this a dream? Can he return whence he came? He removes his space helmet. "Speak, man," says the man behind the desk, now standing, wielding a poker from the fire. "Who the devil are you? And where did you spring from?" The enormity of the situation now dawns on Schilling. "When is this?" he says, looking around in disbelief. "When is this? Talk sense, man." Schilling composes himself, ready to speak. "My name is Jan Schilling. I am the chief test pilot and sommelier for the British Rocket Research Group. I was launched into space at 0600 hours this morning, September the 1st, 1956. At this statement, the gentleman behind the desk stood up. "Poppycock!" he ejaculated. "This is clearly a wheeze cooked up by some of the pupils." Schilling approached the desk slowly. "May I sit down, please? And pray you have something to drink, for I am as dry as a boot." The gentleman can see that Schilling looks disoriented, with no signs of malice. "Here," says the gentleman, "drink this." He pours Schilling a glass of claret. "Good nose," says Schilling, before taking his first sip. "Ah, deep, rich fruit, with overtones of black pepper and sour kumquat. An excellent example of Chateau Gruard La Rosse." "Upon my word, sir, you are correct. You certainly know your wines. Allow me to introduce myself. My friends call me Bertie, and I teach Latin and science here at Midhurst Grammar School. And to answer your question, it is September the 1st, 1893. Chapter 2. Back to a Future. Schilling was incredulous at Bertie's statement. He slaked his thirst with the wine, and, at last, spoke. 1893? That's impossible, man." Bertie handed him a copy of his newspaper as proof. "I think you need a glass of something stronger, old chap," said Bertie, picking up the whisky decanter. "Here, drink this, old man. You look as if you could use a stiff one." Schilling takes a large sip of the scotch. Peaty. Smoky. I'll wager that's an Islay malt. Due to its roundness, I'd say Lafroig. "Oh, that's bang on, old man," Bertie replies. "Look, Bertie, I have to try and get back to my ship. As much I would love to stay and explain everything, plus quaff some more wine. I have a mission to complete." "Well, good luck, old man," said Bertie. "I hope you find your way out of Queer Street. Here's my card, old chap. If you ever pass this way again, please call in. We can finish the scotch." And with a firm shake of the hand, Schilling walked back towards the wall and disappeared. "What an extraordinary chap," said Bertie, finishing his scotch. Schilling found himself back on the ship, in the hoop control room. He went back into the cockpit and strapped himself in. Dare he re-engage the hoop? "Looks like I'll have to give it a try," he said to himself. He primed the hoop and gently eased the lever forward. He could hear the hoop drive engaging and slowly emitting the pulsing sound again. Just before he eased the lever fully forward, He glanced at the card Bertie had given him laying on the control console. "Well, I'll be blowed," he said out loud. The name on the card was none other than H.G. Wells. Chapter 3. From Queer Street to Frying Pans and Fires. After an hour or so, Schilling eased the lever back to the minimum position. The craft was still being propelled forward, but now by its motion alone. Whilst he was still in utter disbelief as to the situation he found himself in, he still had a mission to complete. The time clock for the mission was only 4 hours, and he was now deep into space. After making an audio log of the mission thus far, he began to check all the ship's instruments. As he was taking readings, he noticed the ship's magnetometer reading was increasing, and suddenly his ship came to an abrupt stop. He noticed a very faint but tangible vibration. "Now what, for pity's sake?" he said. And whilst he was analysing all the instruments and the monitor screen, an immense craft appeared. This was followed by a dull, metallic thud. A strange, unnatural voice rang out inside the cockpit. "Identify! Identify! Speak now, clearly!" Schilling, although unnerved, braced himself and replied, "I am Jan Schilling of the British Rocket Research Group." "What planet do you represent?" came the reply. "From the planet Earth," stated Schilling. Again, the voice posed another question. "Why have you violated Belendian space? Are you in league with the Chalfontians?" Schilling is confused. "I was not aware this was Belendian space, and we, on Earth, have never heard of either of your races." There was a pause in communication, and then the voice spoke again. "We are considering..." The next few moments for Schilling were excruciating, the cold silence of space exacerbating the tension. Finally, the soulless voice spoke again. "Consideration completed. You are to be obliterated." Is this the end for Schilling? Is he about to be blown into space debris? Can he formulate a cunning plan? Join us next week for another thrilling episode of the time-travelling Sommelier Astronaut. Incidental music by Harry Monk and his orchestra. Special effects by Edgar Egghead de Winter. This episode's script written and narrated by Lord David Wise, based on an idea postulated by Neil Paddy Mellors.